We're live.
Okay, thank you, LTV. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Town of East Hampton Zoning Board of Appeals meeting for July 28th, 2020. We have we had three scheduled public hearings, but the first, it's not the first year. Sorry. There is a canceled public hearing this evening. The applicant that canceled for now is 133 Girard Drive LLC at 133 Girard Drive in Springs. So that will not be heard this evening. That was scheduled for 7:10 p.m. Pardon me, that was scheduled for 6:50 p.m. That meeting was. So we'll move on to our 6:30 public hearing. The applicant is Michael Schultz. Lot size and location, 1 North Surfside Avenue in Montauk, tax map number 300-2-7, pardon me, 300-51-2-7. Project description: to construct a 407 square foot swimming pool, 440 square foot pool deck, pool equipment, fence, window well, walkway, and driveway on a parcel of land within 150 feet of wetlands. Relief sought as a natural resources special permit pursuant to section 255-4-20 of the East Hampton Town Code. This is in a B residence zoning district. The flood zone here is X and the secret class is type 2. And council, do we have a proper affidavit of service and posting?
I have affidavits that for posting and for mailing, and they appear to be in order.
Thank you, council. Okay, this is in board member Berger's Montauk District. Terry, if you would, give us your field report, please.
Terry, you're on mute.
You're on mute, Terry. You're on mute, Terry. There you
Yes,
go.
Eleni has the photos for me. Sorry about that.
Great.
Yeah, some of the photos got truncated, so I didn't get them all to Eleni. I can provide those later on to get them into the file, but she has some for me.
I'm sharing my screen. Can you see it?
Okay.
You can. Thanks, Eleni.
Yeah, so this is the official notice of posting. It was properly posted at the property. And I'm trying to swipe. Okay. This is the driveway going up. The photo shows the house to the north on North Surfside, north of the applicant's property. And again, I didn't quite get more of the driveway in, but the driveway goes uphill from there. Next. This is a shot looking down, down North Surfside, and at that corner, that street that intersects with it is Surfside. And that you can see it's a downhill grade. Next. And this is a shot going in the other direction, looking up North Surfside. Next. Oh, wait a minute. That's the next one. Okay, I missed another one. Okay, this is the left side of the house going up toward the back. You can see it on the survey with the staircase. Okay, next, maybe they're just out of order. That's a shot of the backyard. And again, it got truncated to the right of, it's out of the photo is where the area for the hot tub and the window well that are proposed is, but it missed the picture. And next, oh, okay, this is the one I thought I had before. I'm standing near the top of the driveway in the front of the house, and this is a shot across toward the neighbor on Surfside. This is the neighbor that had a question about the drainage and the runoff. So that's that next door neighbor right there. And this is the area, again, it's kind of small, didn't get in the whole thing. The area where the pool and the pool deck is going to be, is proposed. And okay, well, it's a shot from the street. Again, the applicant's house is the one on the right, and it shows the house just to the south of it, right at the corner of Surfside and North Surfside of the homeowner that was concerned about the runoff coming down Surfside. And I thought there was another one, but Not, yeah, so I missed a couple. I can get them put into the file later of the back of the house, more of the back of the house, if they can get truncated.
Okay, just to be clear, you said on this
Yeah.
photo, the applicant is the house to the right on this photo?
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is where the car is right at the intersection of Surfside, which continues down and goes up in another direction, and North Surfside, which begins and goes up the hill.
So we're looking at the neighbor's driveway only there, correct?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, okay. Okay, thanks. Any questions, board members, for Terry? No? Okay, thanks, Terry. Okay, do we have the applicant or the agent for the applicant here?
Yes, I'm here. Do you want to swear me in?
Sure. Hi, Britton. Good evening.
Hi, good evening.
Do you swear to or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Excellent.
Good evening, Chairman, members of the board. This project is at 1 North Surfside under Michael Schultz. This came in front of the board in, I believe, the first week of January. Eleni gave a brief presentation, and the board felt at that time that it was appropriate for administrative processing. The distances to wetlands don't require any variances. It's just a NRSP. On the sort of the back end of our 20-day notice period, one of the neighbors to the south, the one that Terry had the picture of that house sort of up close, raised a concern about drainage in and runoff in Surfside and North Surfside. And I think Terry's pictures were great, actually, because we're not going to avoid the fact that there's definitely a drainage problem in this neighborhood. But as you can see, the topography, a lot of it's running down Surfside Avenue and into North Surfside Avenue. I don't think that this property is the reason for it, but we can only address, we went back to the drawing boards. We were sort of distressed that, it came up that late in the game, and then we got stuck in COVID. So it's been a long ride the last few months. But so what we did sort of go back to the drawing boards, myself and the architect, Mark Matthews, and the homeowner, Michael Schultz. We thought, how could we on our parcel address a drainage problem to at least mitigate any drainage that we would be creating? Obviously it's required. We have a pool dry well. That's not pool drainage. So the existing driveway is asphalt. It's something along the lines of 1,100 square feet. And so what we proposed to do as mitigation for those concerns was to tear out, I don't know if somebody could pull up. Yep, that is great. Thank you. So that driveway is slightly more compact and currently asphalt, and we're proposing to remove the asphalt and make it a local quartz driveway, which will give a little bit more permeable nature. And then we also propose, if you look at the red line at the where the driveway meets North Surfside, that is like a drainage trench to catch a trench drain to catch any sort of runoff from our driveway. And further to that, we also, propose to put a bunch, the property is pretty heavily vegetated, but we did propose to add some native revegetation on the north side of the driveway, because I think the drainage is more of a road drainage issue, but if it's coming from anywhere, it's coming from the north. So these were the mitigation that we proposed in response to those comments we received. And other than that, I'd just like to hear if the board thinks that we've addressed those comments.
It looks like, Britton, most of the slope, the topography is going to the south and east naturally there, correct?
Yes,
From the pool?
And Terry's photos kind of showed where she was standing when she was looking up the street. This is a steep area of town. There's definitely topography.
And how much can that The dry well that you're proposing at the bottom of the driveway, what capacity does that have?
I don't want to misspeak. It's an 8x8.
8x8?
I don't know the volume of that. I should, but I don't want to misspeak. Don't tell anybody in my family I don't know the answer to that, please.
Britton, I'm certainly happy to see that you're addressing the driveway. The question I had just quickly is if it looks like you're with the area well, you're adding a bed. Are you adding a bedroom or just legalizing a bedroom?
No, so it has a finished basement already. There are no bedrooms in the basement, so that's to allow for a bedroom. And I also want to highlight, because we're on that side of the house, I think there was a misspoke. There's a hot tub that's to be removed. There's no hot tub proposed as part of this project.
Right. So by adding the bedroom, you're okay? The septic system has been confirmed adequate?
Yes, it is. And it's only 3 bedrooms.
I see. Okay.
Okay, I believe that the neighbor that had an issue, I'm looking for that letter, was also concerned about the dry well for the pool itself, which is near the property line of his house. It's toward his property. Do you know what size that one would be?
I don't, but I do know that every time you put a pool dry well in, they calculate the volume of the pool and the volume of the dry well. And there's a standard formula that's engineered for that. I
believe it's like a 2-inch rain. They calculated for a 2-inch rain
rain?
off the surface. Yeah, that's typical.
And I don't know if there would be a difference. This kind of dry well is piped underground for the rare occasion that you drain a pool. You know, most people just take a couple inches out and leave the water in all winter. Most people don't drain their pool all the way down. This is not something, it's not piped to leaders and gutters. This is solely to meet the town code to have a dry well for a pool. I don't believe there's any engineering reason to move it to a different side of the property. It's below grade.
Britton, I believe this was in the TAM, but just for the record, what is the square footage of the driveway being diminished from the existing asphalt driveway, please? That's 2104, I say, on the existing.
And it goes to 1184.
Wow, okay, that's good, great.
Significantly.
Almost half the size, yeah.
920 square feet reduction.
Yeah, thank you. Board members, any other questions, or Terry, any? We're here for the planning department.
Go back to that dry well. I'm wondering, is it possible to maybe get 2 dry wells, or like somehow can be incorporated into that pool?
I don't know if that's our purview to ask. I mean, she's presented a design. I don't know if that's on what basis would we be asking that?
Okay.
Okay, let's hear from the planning department, and then we can always circle back. Eleni,
Good evening, board members. Eleni Nicolopoulos, the planning department.
Good evening. I'll swear you in right away. Eleni, if you please, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Excellent. Good evening.
Good evening. Okay, so I just want to start off by saying that, yeah, the application was initially given the okay to be processed administratively. The planning department does not take issue with the proposed application due to the distance from the wetlands. This property is surrounded on pretty much 4 sides by wetlands, but they are all more than 100 feet from the property, and the wetland that has the potential to be the most affected by this project is 141.3 feet, so it's the one down here, and it's from the proposed swimming pool. Yeah, during the 20-day comment period, we received a letter from a neighboring property stating that they had significant environmental concerns regarding runoff from the swimming pool and the driveway. the planning department felt that these concerns were substantial enough that a hearing was necessary. And we'd like the board to consider whether the applicant's submission addresses the neighbors' concerns. But overall, the planning department would like to state that we're comfortable with the proposed improvements, given that the proper consideration is given to the concern of runoff leaving the property, and that any and all drainage plans on this property are signed off on by a licensed engineer. And if there's any questions.
Terry, any questions?
Katie, I know you had some photos that showed the back of the house also. Maybe you want to show them since mine didn't get to you.
Yeah, let me see. Let's see if I can pull those up. They're a little tiny. The side of the house. That's looking out down the existing driveway.
Yeah, it shows a little more of the driveway. Yeah.
It's mostly in this area because that's where the pool is proposed. This is the back of the house.
That's where the hot tub is, right? In that area.
Well, I think there is no hot tub, right? Britton?
It's being removed.
The hot tub was to be removed.
Yeah.
It's to be removed. It's possible that it's already been removed. I don't know the current status.
It may have been.
It also might be just behind.
Yeah, I couldn't quite tell. Yeah.
The back of the property.
Right, and that's the side there where those ladders are, is where that walkway is proposed, right?
Yeah.
On that side.
Can you pull a survey up again, Eleni, please, the survey? Great, thanks.
Well, you could tell from those aerial photos that the northeast is really heavily vegetated. I think the runoff is more likely coming from the property to the north based on its situation and the way that it's so forward in the property closer to the road.
Yeah, plus all that parking, Tim, there as well by the road, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think the vegetation along the north side actually is a benefit, but it's more protecting against the neighbor to the north than anything.
Yeah. Yeah, because the slope is going down to the south and the east there.
Right.
Yeah, and if you're there, I know you can see it in the photos that it grades down, but it is a pretty substantial steep grade coming down that street.
And how's the how is the understory, Terry, there, the understory in that area where the pool is going and southeast to the pool?
They didn't look very well vegetated to me.
Yeah. And Lenny, what did you think of the understory there?
It's vegetated. It's definitely not cleared, and it slopes down. The sanitary system is also kind of right in here.
Yeah, it's in that area.
So, Britton, my point is that's obviously going to be left alone and just naturally growing in. Is that correct, Britton?
Correct. It's part of our uncleared native vegetation on the property.
Yeah.
We weren't proposing to do any clearing other than just absolutely what was necessary for the construction. But I do want to highlight one thing that you all just brought up, especially in this aerial. Even if you look at the fact that everybody on the left side of the street has a dirt driveway, if you look at the dirt patterns in the road, you can see where the runoff is coming from. And I just want to highlight, we have an asphalt driveway. So it kind of is stating that most of that runoff is, I really do think it's the two parcels to the north, and you can almost track the dirt coming from the second
Yeah.
parcel to the north all the way down past our property.
Right, yeah,
I mean, I'm not trying to, we're doing the best that we can on this particular property, but I don't know that we're creating the problem. We're definitely gonna hopefully help it with the revegetation, with the reduction, with, getting rid of asphalt altogether and going to a natural quartz-based stone.
yeah, I agree. There's a lot of lawn in those areas. I imagine your driveway, as Tim says, and that proposed vegetation is going to be really sucking up mostly the water coming from the north, but which is good for. Elena, could you just go back to the survey one more time, please? So Britton, when you do construct that pool, do you plan on revegetating the areas that were disturbed all around that in that green area?
Correct. If you look at the, it's kind of, can we zoom in a little bit or not? That line where the mouse is, it's a 5 to 8 foot overcut.
Okay.
And then to get rid of, some of that driveway parking area,
Yeah.
and then everything that's stippled green is getting vegetated.
Okay, great.
And this
So will
plan
there be
doesn't, this plan doesn't show the additional, north side of the driveway revegetation.
Right. And are you doing any, so it says existing mature vegetation to remain, okay. And you're just
And
gonna let
then-
the understory grow in, whatever happens.
And then we're augmenting it with those switchgrass, that natural native switchgrass.
And where is that taking place?
That's the sort of lighter green.
Up there,
Next to the
yeah. Yeah, I'm more
green.
concerned with south of the driveway than north, but anyway.
It's pretty heavily vegetated. I don't know how, I mean, it's very steeply sloped.
Right,
When we had the landscaper look at it, it was not they proposed to do what would be best on the north side where there was any bareness. There's not really much bare. And if you look at the aerial, the only real area of any lawn on the property is kind of at the northwest.
right. So my point is you're not gonna do any mowing or anything in all of that area on the southwest of the property? Southeast.
Not at all.
Right,
No
okay, that's all.
clearing, no mowing, there's no lawn.
Right. Okay, any other questions, board members?
Just real quick, it looks to me like you've reduced the square footage of the driveway. Would that be correct?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think you missed that earlier, Tim. They're knocking it from like 2,100 down to like 1,100, like a 920 square foot reduction.
that's correct.
Thank you.
Yeah. Anyone else?
No, you're okay with all the recommended project conditions in the TAM?
Yes.
Okay, Terry, you want to make a motion? I think there's no public, any public on the line, Mike?
Yeah,
from
no,
TV?
nobody from the public?
No, there are no phone calls.
Okay, thank you, Mike. Okay, Terry, you want to make a motion then?
Yeah, in the application for Michael Schultz at 1 North Surfside Avenue in Montauk, tax map 300-51-02-07. Make a motion to close the public hearing and leave the written record open for 2 weeks after the transcript is posted to the town website.
Second?
Concur?
And I concur. Thanks, Terry.
Thank you. Have a nice
Annie.
evening.
Thanks, Britton.
Okay,
Thank you.
Okay, let's see, we have until 6:50, so we have about 15 minutes, it looks like. Is that correct? Oh, I'm sorry.
what is
Oh, no, it's 6:55, I beg your pardon.
Send-
So we can go,
7:10 is the next one, yeah.
yeah, 7:10, I'm sorry, we've got 15 minutes, right. Okay, so I have read the minutes of July 21st, 2020. Can I have a motion to approve the minutes? They all looked in order to me. Are there any comments, board members?
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of July 21st, 2020.
Second?
Concur.
And I concur. Thanks, Tim. Okay, council, I guess we'll move on to the resolution, the board determinations. We have the pressure equalization module, correct?
Yes, I think everyone got a chance now to read through that, the written determination on your interpretation. And that's ready for the board to adopt as written if you're okay with that.
Okay, I should pull that up probably.
It's not
Oh, no.
not a tax map number, so it's just in the matter of the request
yeah.
of the town of East Hampton Planning Department as to a interpretation on a pressure equalization module.
Right, right. Okay, who would like to make a, Roy, Vice Chair Deline, you want to make a motion for that? Oh, Roy's on mute.
Roy, you're on there.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Roy, would you like to make a motion on that?
I would, John,
you.
I would like to make a motion to adopt the addition of the pressure equalization modules into the town code definition of.
No,
we're not doing that.
no.
Yeah.
You
Oh,
cannot
say it again.
change town code. Please do not make a motion to change town code.
Thank you, council.
So you're just adopting the interpretation as written.
Okay, so there you go. So I make a motion to adopt the interpretation as written for PEM.
Thank you.
I'll second that.
And I dissent, right?
Yes. You can, as written, you can accept it as written because it has your dissent in it.
Okay,
So you vote to adopt
Accept
it
it
as
as
written
written.
because it's written with your dissent.
Right.
okay, all right.
Okay, and I concur as well. And thank you. Thanks for your work on that, Nancy Lynn and Brian Frank. Okay, let's see. I don't know if we have any other business we can fit in here. Council, do we have anything?
No, we, just to go over what our schedule is, we have a public hearing scheduled for the August 4th, and then on August 11th, we have a work session where we will be trying to catch up on some of our hearings that we've done so far with transcripts that have posted. So we will have a busy night on the 11th, trying to do as many that we can that have closed, trying to get an official count of which ones those will be by that date.
Right. Okay, thank you, Council. Yeah, we have the transcripts now. We're getting posted and we're catching up right on those 2-week time periods to close the written records, correct?
That's correct. We do know we have a handful, and we're just trying to get a final date that others posted so we can determine the 2 weeks.
Thank you. Okay, so we have about 12 minutes. I think Tim was supposed to tell some jokes or something like that.
I put myself on mute, John.
Intentionally, I don't blame you. I should do the same.
Is there anything further on this whole process, like normalizing more?
We do not have an update from the town board as to reopening town hall. We are, just so that the board is aware, that on all of our notices for public hearing, it's noticed for either for a modified procedure such as we're doing tonight, or in the if we're allowed for back to regular hearings, and so that there will not be a delay for any of our hearings that have been noticed if town hall is opened up and we're allowed to resume actual in-person public hearings. We will be able to do so without any kind of delay, because we are noticing all hearings for both in trying in preparation for when that day comes.
Great, thank you, Nancy Lynn. Yeah, and I'd like to thank LTV, who's doing a great job accommodating us with these meetings. Hey, Mike at LTV, are you there?
Yes, I am, John.
I'm really concerned about our ratings. I'm wondering if you have some elevator music or something you could be playing.
You know, I don't, but I was just gonna ask you, I mean, I know it's a few minutes away. Would you like me to put something up that says, in recess until 7:10?
Sure, would you?
Just
Yeah.
for like 3 minutes? Sure.
Yeah, we should do that typically. Thank you. That's a good
In
idea.
the future, if there's ever a break like this?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
You got it.
Thanks. Thanks, Mike.
You're welcome. That's up now.
Okay, great.
Mike, we back on?
Yes, we're ready when you guys unmute and start. We're ready.
Chair, they're ready when you're ready.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Nancy. Thank you, Mike. Okay. We can now commence our second public hearing of the evening. The applicants are Peter and Jennifer Sclafani, and the lot size and location is 24,160.1 square feet. Total at 15 South Fran Street, Montauk. Tax map number 300-28, pardon me, 300-28-7-47. Project description: to construct a 480 square foot swimming pool, 756 square feet of decks, 33.25 square foot balcony, 12.75 square foot dock, and approximately 225 linear feet of fencing, and to allow an approximately 215 square foot patio to remain on a parcel of land containing and within jurisdiction of freshwater wetlands. The relief sought is a natural resources special permit pursuant to section 255-4-20 of the Town Code, and 5 variances are required for this application. Variances of 90 feet, 74.5 feet, 72.9 feet, 62.6 feet, and 51.8 feet are required from section 255-4-30 of the Town Code in order to construct the fencing 10 feet, decking 25.5 feet, swimming pool 27.1 feet, patio 37.4 feet, and balcony 48.2 feet from freshwater wetlands where 100-foot setbacks are required and any other relief necessary. This is in a B residence zoning district. The flood zone is X, the secret class is type 2. And council, do we have a proper affidavit of service and posting?
Have the affidavit for a mailing on the 16th of July and posting on the 10th of July. The paperwork appears to be in order.
Okay, thank you, council. Okay, once again, this is in Board Member Berger's Montauk District. Terry, if you would, with your field report, please.
Yeah, Tyler has my photos. Thank you, Tyler. Okay, this is the notice that was properly posted. The applicant's property is to the right of this area. I'm going to be walking down the southern side of the house, around the property, and then back out. Next. What I did was turn from where the posting is, and this is the property ends on a cul-de-sac. That's the house immediately to the north in the cul-de-sac from the applicant's property. And next. Now I turn back toward the direction of the posting, and this is the house to the left of where the posting is. So that's the next door neighbor on the southern side of it. And next. Then I walked up the driveway of the applicant's house and turned around. This is a shot basically of the immediate neighborhood of this area, the cul-de-sac itself. The street runs out about one block, kind of down to South Forest. Next. Now I'm walking up the southern side of the house. That first roof that has the vegetation on it is the garage, detached garage, and I'm walking toward the front door. Next. Okay, now I did ring the bell, but no one responded. So this is the walkway from on the side of the house toward the back. You can see how much dense vegetation there is toward the back of the house in the direction of the wetlands and the pond. Next. Now I'm at the end of the walkway. You can see how this opens out to the lawn area. It's the wetlands in the distance, and in the area to the left there, you'll see we'll have more shots, is the area where they're proposing the walkway down to the pond and the dock area. Next. On the survey, I was trying to see where this fencing is. So I did walk. This is on the northerly side. The fence appears to be about 7 feet high, and there's the next, Tyler. That's next. Okay, go back. And this is the one, there is sort of a gate. It's kind of hard to make out, but this looks like a gate that can be opened and gone through. And I believe this is at the end of the applicant's property. It shows that deer fencing on the survey. Next. Now I turned around from that spot and you see the back of the house in the area where the pool is being proposed and the large lawn area. And next. Go back. This is a gate and the deer fencing. It's on the opposite side. It's on the southern side in that back area of the yard. Next. Now this is the area where there's a gate here. You can see the shadow of the gate. There's about a little drop. It's not much of a drop off. And this is the pond area. And this is where they're proposing the dock and the pathway to the pond. Next. And it's just another shot showing a little more of the pond. It's a generally small pond that runs behind several of the houses on South Forest Street and South Fisk Street on the northern side. Next. That's a shot again with the gate closed. I just took another shot showing you the gate that's there today as it exists. Next. Now this is the more northerly side of the house. I'm starting to walk up across the lawn and to the area next, Tyler, where there's the stone walkway, stepping stones as they call it on the survey. And now I'm walking back toward the front of the house, but on the northern side of it. The next. And this is a shot from that area. I turned and it took a shot of the lower level entranceway, the shed, and there's an outdoor shower in that, behind that little structure to the right there. And next. And then I just turned around from that area and just took a shot into the direction of the wetlands. You can see how dense the wetlands are and how pristine they look. Next. And, oh, that was it. Okay. Thank you, Tyler.
Terry, is that balcony already built or is that just a railing? There was one photo, Eleni, or Tyler, maybe you could go back. Tyler, there's the back of the house. I was just curious.
There's a second story balcony proposed.
Up there. Oh, is that just a railing over the window, maybe? Over the sliding door up top? It might just be a railing there, yeah.
Yeah, it looks like a railing and they're proposing a balcony there.
Yeah, just was,
area. Yeah, there's a wood.
Well, thanks. That was a good field report. Terry, thank you. Any questions, board members? No? Okay. Do we have the applicant or the agents on the line? Mike?
Yes, they're on the Zoom link, I believe.
Susan's is on the call. She's on Zoom.
Hi, I'm here with Eric Bregman.
Okay, great. Good evening. Good evening to both of you. I hope you're socially distanced. Eric does not need to be sworn in as he is an attorney, but Susan, I will swear you in. If you could raise your right hand, please. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. Good evening again.
Sure. Trying to share my screen with Eric here.
Okay.
So this is a natural resources special permit and variance request for the owners of 15 South Grand Street in Montauk to construct a 16 square foot landing at the edge of the pond bordering their property, to legalize a pre-existing patio area, to construct a 33 square foot balcony off the second floor, and to construct a swimming pool and deck on the property in an existing lawn area. Peter and Jennifer purchased this property in 2011 as a second home for their young family. They have 2 young daughters. Recently, this property has become their permanent residence. Okay, this survey is up here. So the landing at the edge of the pond has been reduced to 4x4 based on planning staff memo. The Scafanis are requesting this small landing simply to be able to safely access the water with their daughters. The access area is narrow, rocky, slippery. It can also not be seen very well from the house. The landing will allow the young girls safe access to the water with paddle boards, kayaks, a fishing pole, and also allow Peter and Jennifer an area in which they can keep an eye from. The slate patio is a small area that's positioned between the garage and the house. It connects the gravel walkway to the stepping stones that run alongside the residence. It is a heavily trafficked area, as you can imagine, and the patio keeps it clean and accessible. When the house was purchased in 2011, the survey attached to the CO did not show this area as improved. However, the review of aerial photos dating back to 2001 show the area as an improved patio area. We believe it's actually existed since the construction of the garage in 1995, and it was definitely there when the applicants purchased the property in 2011. The balcony is simply a small cantilevered extension, exactly where that photograph showed the sliding door with the safety barrier.
Yeah.
It's not proposed. It's just a little access off the master bedroom. It is not proposed to touch the ground. It's over an existing improved deck. It should have no impact on the environment or the community as it is proposed. Tyler, could I ask you to bring up Appendix A? Thank you. Is there any way to zoom that out so it's, can you guys see that okay? There we go, a little bit. That's good. Okay. So this is an aerial map that demonstrates the location of the subject property. The property is the one highlighted in red. What it simply does is show you the neighborhood. It shows you where existing swimming pools are, and the little key at the bottom will tell you what types of permits were required. There's obviously not all the same circumstances, but at any rate, this shows that swimming pools are common in the neighborhood. It's quite typical for private residences in our community and this neighborhood to enjoy private outdoor recreation spaces, and that includes a swimming pool. Private recreation areas are more crucial to our community today due to our circumstances requiring sheltering in place and social distancing. This was clearly not a consideration initially. However, it is pertinent to note for this request now that Peter and one of his daughters suffer from chronic asthma. These circumstances are the reason that this property has become their permanent residence. Tyler, if I may ask you to bring up Appendix B. Hello, Tyler?
Yeah, it'll just take 1 second to load.
Sorry, could you bring up B? Okay, great. So this is an aerial shot showing the overlay of our proposal with the swimming pool and the scenic easement that's proposed. I think that the importance of this part of the application is apparent in the willingness of Peter and Jennifer to modify the application in consideration of the planning department's concerns. The adjustment of the pool and buffer area proposed reduce, if not eliminate, the impact on the environment. The original proposed pool and deck represented 1,428 square feet of improvement and was approximately 25 feet from wetlands on the north side, with only a very small buffer proposed. After reviewing the planning department comments and concerns, the proposal has been revised to a total of 780 square feet. That's the pool and deck. This is a 49% reduction. This has increased the wetland setback to over 40 feet. Additionally, a much larger buffer is being proposed. It has been increased from 7,400 square feet to over 12,000 square feet. This represents more than 50% of the property and includes an area of native planting that is more than 3,000 square feet. We respectfully disagree with the planning department's position that this proposal will negatively impact Lake Montauk and the associated watersheds. In fact, we submit that the proposal is likely to benefit the watershed and ultimately Lake Montauk. The property itself is more than 3,900 linear feet from the lake, and currently there is an existing lawn area immediately adjacent to the wetland. And this lawn area likely does impact the watershed. We are proposing to remove a substantial amount of the lawn area and provide a significant buffer that will provide protection for the watershed. Ultimately, the proposal swaps a heavily existing recreational lawn area that is a potential source of non-point runoff and pollution to the watershed for a smaller recreation area of the pool and deck, while providing a significant buffer that will benefit the wetlands. I'd also like to point out that we have submitted New York State DEC approval. It was submitted to your file on October 29th of 2019. Eric, did you want to?
No, I think Susan said that very well. I think the main point is that we agree with the general statement of the staff that non-point runoff is a problem. We think that this proposal greatly improves the situation on this property by creating the no disturbance, no fertilization, no herbicide, etc. A no-touch conservation easement over 51% of the property, basically swapping out the recreational area they now use the lawn for having a pool that they can use as a recreational facility. And so it's really a win-win, we suggest, for the town and the wetlands and for the Sclafani. Thank you.
You're putting a landing in the drainage easement. Is that where it would be located?
And you can see it on the survey.
Yes, actually it does. If you look at the survey, it is in the drainage easement area.
Isn't that kind of counter to a drainage easement to put a structure in the middle of the easement?
Well, actually, that will be overstanding water. So the drainage easement was proposed as part of the original subdivision. This pond didn't exist. It was created by the subdivision. So it's sort of a displacement of water to create the subdivision, I believe. It's not going to have any impact on the drainage easement.
Yeah, it's not on the ground, so it's not interfering with any water flow.
You can see the edge of the pond goes landward of it somewhat, just slightly.
If we go back to the photo, it looks to me like there might be 4 other properties that would naturally come forward with a similar plan.
Well, that's a good question, but I think the answer to that is no. I may not get any more clients out there, but I think the answer is no, because this is a very special property because of that lawn area that runs right into the wetlands.
Okay, I have some comments about this Appendix A. This is much more than a 15 France Street neighborhood. It's several neighborhoods. And all the pools that are referenced here were built prior to zoning. The one immediately to the south, the one on the other side of the pond that you note in the blue on South 5th Street. That was done prior to any NRSP and zoning. I mean, to me, this clearly shows how pools are not common in this neighborhood. There are dense wetlands. There are also those dark pockets, to the right where the other cul-de-sacs are as part of the subdivision. There are tiny ponds, even tinier ponds than the Sclafanis. And you can see there are no pools. There are no docks. And, it is not normal. It is not a norm of this neighborhood to have recreation areas and pools.
There are two questions pending. One is this going to be an adverse precedent that other people will use? And if I could just finish the answer to that, the answer is no, because there's nobody else who has a non-point source running right down to the wetlands of this size that they could give up if they wanted to do the same kind of thing. So this is respectfully a unique property where you can get the trade-off and the win-win by helping the wetlands by doing this. If they don't get the pool and they keep using the wetlands will have more runoff into them substantially than if the project is allowed to go forward. That's the whole basis for the pool. There are other pools. And by the way, I just wanted to point out that in that Exhibit B, Susan was very careful about showing where the permits, when they were obtained and what was necessary. So you're right that a number of them were before zoning.
And the ones in that immediate area, on that immediate pond.
Yes, that's true. But
And
this,
your appendix
this,
B clearly shows the density of that neighborhood, also that area around the pond, more specifically.
my point is that this application, should you grant it, doesn't open up that other properties to swimming pools.
Eric, what about the three properties immediately? Let's see, I'm assuming the top of the page is north here, Susan?
Yes.
What about the three properties to the west of the southern property that does have the pre-existing pool?
Could you
Oh,
Point
could you
out.
move the cursor over so we could see which ones you mean?
Yeah, I'm referring to right there where the cursor just was 329, but 328.7. Tyler, you see where the boats are? Come back. You're right there. No, you're just there. Slow down. No, go to the
To
east.
the right.
Go to right there.
Yeah.
Right there.
That doesn't have a pool.
No, I know. I'm saying, Eric's saying there's no one else who could do the same thing here. It looks like this application, this property could come in for the same application is what my point.
I think there are others also. that
I do
could.
too.
Well, okay, if you look, I agree.
I mean,
Mr. Chairman,
I
that
think
there
it
isn't-
clearly shows how that area has been protected. And you don't have pools other than the immediate area where they were pre-existing to NRSP and zoning standards for it.
Okay, and if you look at the other two to the left, there is one with a cleared area. I agree, Mr. Chairman. The other two are not. So that's our point. And even the one with the pool isn't cleared, but it already has a pool, so.
Right.
And that pool is partially above ground on that one there on South Fisk.
I don't think that's an issue here, the elevation, because the property rises fairly steeply. So where we're proposing the pool, the elevation is pretty high. I don't
It's like
remember.
in the 80s. It's like 82.
It's 82 as opposed to the pond at 76. So it's a fairly big differential. There's no issue of groundwater.
And unlike
Makes
swimming
sense.
pools that were constructed prior to the requirement for natural resources special permit or this kind of review, this pool will be constructed, if allowed, with chlorine reducing filtration system with the appropriate dry wells to proper capacity to support it. And we really do believe that the enhanced buffer will protect the wetland more so than our current circumstances do.
That's really the point. And either you buy our point or you don't. But our point is that the setbacks are in order to protect the wetlands. And there is no way to meet the setbacks. Obviously, if we could, we would. But that's what they're designed to do. This project protects the wetlands. As much as if you had a pool 100 feet away, and certainly if you could put the pool 100 feet away and keep the lawn, it would be even worse. So that's the point of the whole object of the NRSP, is to protect the wetlands, even man-made wetlands like these, and that this project is really a pro-protection project. It doesn't meet the 100. So you either buy that or you don't.
So my question, I have a question, if you will.
Sure.
In 1997, this property went through ZBA decision, heavily scrutinizing the property, which I often give deference to.
Mhm.
So my question is, what environmentally has changed between that time, which would justify an expansion like that? This, I get your point on the scenic easement, but I don't know. This property has already gone through scrutiny. So I'm not sure it really justifies the expansion at this point.
Consistent setbacks to the existing structures, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And why don't we hear from the
Okay.
It wasn't.
Yeah, before we hear from the planner, you submitted a revised survey March 30th, 2020. And you changed the orientation of the proposed pool on that. Can you address or just tell us the notice as it was read in by the chairman, those variances that are listed, how have they changed based on this latest survey that you submitted?
Susan will go through the details, but in terms of the notice, I think the notice is good because all these setbacks are greater than the ones before.
Well, yeah, I'd like to know what the new setbacks are.
Sure.
So
Yeah,
the original swimming pool and patio were proposed to be 25.5 feet from the wetland to the north. It is now 40.6. Yes, 40.6. These are so small, I can hardly read them. 40.6 on the north side. So what we did was, one of the things in that planning ZBA approval that was that Roy just commented on is that the board at the time was agreeable to the improvements as long as they were no closer to the wetlands. So our thought was by rotating this pool, we were keeping in line with those suggestions of the board at the time. We reduced the setback. It also allowed us to increase the buffer area and protect the wetlands a little bit more to the north. Going back to what Terry had said about the other properties and even John about the other properties being able to come in with the same circumstances, I'd like to point out that those other properties appear to be much larger and in different shape and orientation and don't have the same wetland imposition that we have on the north side where it comes up over and pushes us into the corner. They may likely have envelopes that they can work with that we don't have on this property.
Susan, can I just get
okay, so going
clarification?
back to the variances, can you list them out specifically by item? We had 90 feet variance for the fencing, and you're removing that deer fencing?
The deer fencing has to go. We've informed the applicants that there's no way for us to even potentially make that a legal structure, that it's going through the wetlands. So we'll have to cut that out of the wetlands and remove it.
Okay, and then the pool and the patio, the pool was listed at a variance of 72.9 feet, and it is now what?
Okay, so let me just grab my calculator here. So it would be 59.5 feet on the north.
59.9, okay. And the patio was listed at 62.6?
The patio, which patio are you referring to, the slate one?
The one that's noticed for the 62.6. I can't read that either. I think it's...
The decking, it was at 74.5 feet.
Oh, the
decking for the pool, and then the patio, the slate, is that, Susan, what you did?
Well, the patio for the slate hasn't changed. So then we had a swimming pool and a pool deck.
Okay, so the decking for the pool.
Yes, and there's two sets of wetlands. We have the wetlands to the north, and then we have the surface waters basically to the west. Which ones are we talking about? Which ones?
The 74 was 27.1, and that is now, no, it's here. It's 46, 40.
40.6.
40.6 instead of
25.5.
25.5. Or to the corner of the pool is 27, and it's now to the corner of the pool
42.8.
42.8. So
Tyler, maybe you can chime in and let us know if the decking on there is referring to the pool decking or if that's a different deck.
The decking would be any decking. So previously the decking came like up and out here. Now it's showing it as 40.6 to here, and the pool would be that 42.8, which would be down here. So the new pool decking setback is that 40.6 number, or just decking, doesn't matter how you notice it. And then the swimming pool setback is the 42.8, or whatever that number is.
Okay, thank you, Tyler.
The balcony and the patio.
Board members, maybe let's jump over to Tyler for a bit. We can circle back. Tyler, I'll swear you in if you please. Raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thanks. Good evening, Tyler.
Good evening, Tyler Borsak for the Planning Department. So this parcel is located on the west side of the cul-de-sac at the end of South France Street in Montauk. The application is in order to construct a new swimming pool with fencing, pool decking, a small balcony, and dock over the wetlands, and also to legalize an existing patio area. The property lies within the Lake Montauk watershed, and more specifically is in Montauk Subwatershed 4. The quality of the wetlands within the watershed directly impact the quality of Lake Montauk. It is the non-point pollution from the subwatershed and its tributary system that are likely contributing factors to the poor water quality of Lake Montauk. As proposed, the planning department recommends denial of at least a portion of the proposed project, mainly the proposed swimming pool. It is the planning department's opinion that the constraints of the property are too great to consider the construction of a swimming pool and decking approximately 40 feet from the edge of wetlands. The increased intensity of use on the parcel, increased runoff, disturbance to the property, adverse impacts on wetlands, and magnitude of variances are not able to properly be mitigated, even considering additional mitigation beyond what the applicants have proposed. The constrained property is already improved with a moderate-sized residence with detached garage and accessory structures. The existing residence is located only approximately 41 feet from the edge of wetlands, with the existing sanitary system located approximately 7 feet from the edge of wetlands. When considering the extremely non-conforming sanitary system location, the location of the proposed swimming pool would likely be the best location for the sanitary system upgrade in the future. Eliminating that possible location for an upgrade would be poor planning for future use of the parcel. Any increased development on this parcel needs to be closely critiqued and should remain at an absolute minimum amount of development, if any additional development is appropriate at all. Continuing to increase development on a property as constrained as the one before the zoning board is contrary to proper natural resources planning and does not appear to meet the NRSP or variance standards. The planning department believes that the swimming pool and decking would cause an undesirable change in the character of the neighborhood. The variances are substantial. They would have an adverse impact on the environmental conditions on the property, and the variances are self-created since the property was acquired in 2011, presumably with full knowledge of the environmental constraints. The subject parcel is a poor candidate for the variances, which further reduce setbacks to the surrounding wetlands. The granting of these variances would set a precedent for similarly constrained properties throughout town and especially within this important watershed. The subject application represents a significant reduction in the setback between the structures on the property and the significant surface water wetlands to the west, and is an unsuitable increase in development for the parcel, while also eliminating a possible location for the future sanitary system upgrade. The existing slate patio, which is proposed to remain, is located within close proximity to the wetlands to the north. However, it was constructed mostly between two previously approved structures and may be in keeping with the board's approvals on the property. The patio is located between the detached garage and the residence, both of which received approvals from the ZBA. Similarly, the proposed second-story balcony is proposed over an existing first-story deck. The balcony is a fairly small change and should not have any significant impacts that do not currently exist from the existing improvements. The board should also examine the proposed dock closely. If approved, the dock should certainly be constructed without any treated lumber, as is proposed by the provided plans. The presence of the dock, the precedence of the dock should be examined and discussed by the board as well. There's certainly no other docks on properties surrounding this wetland, and docks on other freshwater wetlands in town are fairly rare and are mostly limited to around Fort Pond. Construction of any structures within wetlands should be kept to an absolute minimum and only when absolutely necessary. The dock would function as a structural amenity, does not appear to be necessary for the use of the property, and is without any significant need that could not otherwise be achieved without the dock. The dock could also have precedential implications similar to the swimming pool. An approval on this parcel could provide enough for similar properties in the area and across town to be approved similar structures. While the applicants have increased the amount of proposed mitigation and altered the proposed improvements, the planning department still feels that there is not enough mitigation able to be offered, which would offset the impacts of the swimming pool located so close to wetlands and the precedent which would be set by approving a swimming pool in the proposed location. I can answer any questions you might have.
Thank you, Tyler.
Thanks, Tyler.
Harry, any questions?
Well, just to reiterate for me, so this dock could actually set a precedent if it were to be approved for anywhere else in the entire town.
Oh, absolutely. It's a dock on a freshwater surface water wetland. They're pretty rare. Other than Fort Pond, there's quite a few.
All right. And in your opinion, the scenic easement does not outweigh the detriment for the pool?
No.
Okay, thank you.
Board members, any other questions for Tyler?
May I speak to? Thank you. A couple of things. One is, it's a little distressing to get a whole new statement from the board all of a sudden without having seen it or having actually been told that there wasn't going to be any change in the report. I just don't think that's an appropriate way to proceed.
What statement,
What are you
Eric?
talking about?
Are you referring?
What Tyler just read was mostly brand new stuff, was not in the prior staff report. For example, he talked about these man-made reservoirs as being tributaries to Lake Montauk. There's no evidence of that. The groundwater may connect, but they're not tributaries. They don't run into Lake Montauk. There's no indication anywhere, at least in all the aerials, excuse me, that I've seen, of water running surface out of those ponds across the surface and being a tributary to Lake Montauk, which is quite far away. Secondly, he talks about the septic system, and he would say, well, the pool is where this new septic system should go. The pool is at a much lower level or elevation than where the septic system is. It would not be an appropriate place for a septic system, and it would not be terribly deep. And I'm sure you could figure out a septic system that would work there, but certainly not a traditional one or even a traditional IA one. And then he talks about the precedent of the pool. And again, we've talked about that, and you have our views. The lot that is open, Mr. Chairman, that you pointed out, is quite a bit larger, as Susan pointed out, and has a different envelope and could very well be substantial. If somebody wanted a pool there, it could very well be substantially further from the wetlands. There's room for it, particularly because that lot doesn't have wetlands on the north. If we didn't have those wetlands on the north, the pool could be north, and it would be, in terms of distance from the wetland, from the pond issue or the Dove Canal, we could probably find 100 feet or very close to it. Mm-hmm. So this is a very special property that, respectfully, your decision would not establish a precedent that anybody else could use. And just the dock business, you've seen the drawings though. It's a very simple system, the concept. It's really just a place to put a canoe or a paddleboard and have it there and be able to watch the kids when they're out on it, and not slip down the rocks. It's a very small process. It's and it's a very reasonable request that doesn't impose on the pond. That's our.
So Eric, just really quickly, your point about, Tyler mentioning the sanitary system, the areas, you can certainly mention that at his presentation, but the area where the pool is, as you see, is around 82 feet elevation, and the existing sanitary is, one of the leaching pools looks like it's about 10 feet from the wetlands, and it's only 4 feet higher. So I don't really know if that's such a wonderful spot to be 10 feet from the wetlands just because you're 4 feet higher.
It's also not likely that they would relocate the septic system to the other side of the house where it would be closer to the surface waters. I think we could fit in an IA system here with a shallow drain field easily. I don't see that we couldn't do that here.
But you'd be much closer to the wetlands.
Yeah, but we'd have a greatly improved septic tank that was reducing nitrogen runoff at that point. That application actually would not have to come before any significant review, if I understand the code correctly, that we could upgrade this system in place in kind. I believe the tank would have to go a little bit. Am I getting my bearings correct? little bit west, and then a leaching galley could be run alongside the garage and keep a better distance from the wetlands. It could be accomplished.
Right. Well, that's another application. Yeah.
It's a lot of elevation when you're talking differential when you're talking about a septic system. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. I think we'll wrap it up here. Unless any board members have any other comments?
Do we have any call-ins before we?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
No,
Thank you, Nancy.
There are no phone callers at this time.
Okay. And we did receive some letters of support that are in the file
Yeah.
for
I don't
neighbors.
know if the board wanted me to address any of the comments either.
Sure. Go ahead, Tyler.
Well, I mean, the vast majority of that was in the assessment. The information about about the wetlands and the tributaries impacting Lake Montauk, I'm not suggesting that this system is a tributary. It was just a general discussion, a general point about the area in general, that there are tributaries and there are wetlands, and these wetlands are absolutely connected to Lake Montauk. Within the Lake Montauk watershed, what happens on this property and the properties in this area do impact Lake Montauk. I don't think that's up for debate. As far as the sanitary location, we would absolutely want horizontal separation from the wetlands as much as possible, rather than a vertical separation with it only being 7 feet away or however close you can get it. So where the swimming pool is located is probably the furthest location you could probably put one, laterally in the area, unless you put it in the driveway, potentially, but that would be pretty far away from the house. So that was our concern with that. I don't believe there are any other points.
Okay. Thank you, Tyler. I certainly didn't mean to cut you out of the conversation. You're always welcome to jump in.
That's quite right.
Any other comments, board members, or Eric and Susan wrap up?
Just one.
I just have a comment about the reference to Lake Montauk. Prior to Lake Montauk, you have all these other neighborhoods that those waters would flow through. So there's a lot more impact that could happen before anything even gets to Lake Montauk. Wow. So it was.
I just want to repeat that we agree that the protection of these wetlands and ultimately Lake Montauk, I don't know enough hydrology to know how that works exactly, but we agree with the analysis of the staff that that's something to be protected. And that's our point, that this project gives them more protection than they have now, not less. The point of having the setbacks is, again, to protect the wetlands, and this project gives more protection to the wetlands than now exists.
Okay. Thank you, Eric, and thank you, Susan. We appreciate it. Terry, would you like to make a motion to close out the public portion?
In the application for Jennifer and Peter Sclafani at 15 South Fran Street in Montauk, tax map 300-028-07-47. Make a motion to close the public hearing, leave the written record open for 2 weeks from the date that the transcript of this hearing is posted on the town website.
Second.
Concur?
And I concur as well. Thank you. Thank you, Terry, and thank you, Tyler, and thank you, Eric and Susan.
Night.
Have a good evening.
Good night.
Thanks.
Okay, board members, I believe that brings us to the end of our agenda for the evening.
That is correct.
Okay. Excellent. Okay, Vice Chair, maybe we get a motion from you then.
Sure. Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I would make a motion then to close the Town of East Hampton Zoning Board of Appeals hearing for July 28th at 7:55 p.m.
Second.
Concur.
And I concur. Thanks, Roy. Thanks, everyone. Thanks to Planning Department, LTV.
Thank you all.
Thank you.